Hi folks, I'm Matt and welcome to My Expanded Universe, a show where I go through the entire EU in chronological order as best I know how. Folks, it's time to go into that era that I talked about in my last video. It's John Jackson Miller's Knight Errant. Now if you're interested in reading Knight Errant, you need to start in the hyperspace short Influx. It's about Kara Holt and a Jedi team who are hijacking a ship within Sith space. Now you can find this story on savudu.com. It's a very short story. Not necessary to the overall story plot of Knight Errant, but if you're interested in Kara Holt, then yeah, go ahead and read it. It's worth your time. Now from that short story, you're going to go into Dark Horse's first 5-issue miniseries of Knight Errant called A Flame. Now in A Flame, the newly knighted Kara Holt is introduced to us, and as she goes deep behind Sith lines with no support from her fellow Jedi and none from the Republic. She's also caught up between infighting between two Sith brothers, Odian and Damon. Now, what I think about the story, don't worry, I'm going to get to that as a whole as I make it through these. But that's basically who Kara Holt is. Actually, from that 5-issue miniseries, you need to then go to the novel itself, Knight Errant. And of course it keeps talking about the infighting between the two brothers and another Sith who gives Kara Holt an option that may end the war between these two brothers. Now, is that Sith lying? Will it be successful? Does Kara Holt even do it? You'll have to find out. Now, to be honest, on the book, Yubnub and I love the book. We really like the... Hey, where is Yubnub? Oh, he usually likes to be here for this. I'm kind of surprised he's not here. Huh. Anyway, after the book, you need to dip back into the Dark Horse series with Deluge, the next 5-issue miniseries. Now, in this miniseries, Kara has to return back to her home world, which is in Sith space, to save that planet from a threat from Zoda the Hutt. But pretty soon, Lord Damien, the Sith Lord, is going to join into the fray, and all chaos erupts. Now, while you're reading that 5-issue series, you may as well go ahead and delve into the next 5-issue miniseries called Escape, where Kara Holt is now working undercover in Odian's group with a Sith elite task force. And they're on a mission to find a Sith relic. But Kara wants to find it before they do and destroy it. She also discovers a little bit more about her family. What happened to them? Are they still alive? And then one of the Sith brothers. That's all I'm going to say about it. So, what did I think of the whole Knight Errant era? I like the art in the comic books, first off. And I like the overall principle. The story of a Jedi going behind enemy lines. And Kara Holt is there just to save the innocent bystanders. Because there are homeworlds that are within Sith space at this moment who are actually good planets. They're good people there. They're not the bad guys. Yet they're being oppressed by Sith. Because the Republic had to abandon them. When they were carving out the line on what's the Sith Empire and the Republic, they fell into the Sith one, and there's nothing the Republic can do. That's why the Republic can't, legally or politically help her out, and the Jedi can't either. But that's where her homeworld is, and so she's going in to fight the good fight and stand up for the middleman or the small people who are caught in the middle of this war. That's the kind of story I can get interested about. Unfortunately, the reason why you see a lot of people do not like this story is because of the main character herself. Kara Holt is such a cookie-cutter, been-there, done-that character, you don't even care about her. Seriously, I kept reading the comics and I read the book and I was hoping maybe I'll start feeling bad for her or happy for her or interested in her story, and I didn't. But if you look at the overall concept of the idea for the story plot, it works if you put the right character in there. Imagine this. Imagine we go back in time, we put Zane Carrick in there. Well, now you're interested, right? Because Zane was a really interesting character. And that whole story would be interesting to see what Zane would do. Unfortunately, we don't have anyone that interesting. We have Kara Holt, who is basically boring. I mean, John Jackson Miller really tried to give her a character. And I really tried to get into it. And I have no doubt if they hadn't have been bought out by Disney that they would have continued making Knight Errant stories, because the story never finished. You know, I mean, the comic book series kind of wrapped up that storyline, but the overall story with Kara Holt never ended. So you're left kind of wondering what happened with that situation. But that would be the biggest flaw that I would see about this series, is its main character, which is a big flaw, right? If you don't care about the main character, why would I care about the story? Matt, is this even worth my time? Yeah, I would say it's worth your time, because I love the brothers, Sith brothers. I love the setup, the principle, like I said again, the idea of this story, and as it plays out and unfolds, is interesting. I just wish it was done with a more interesting main character. There's some side characters in there that I found way more interesting than our main character. It's like, for the only time I watched Smallville was when Lex Luthor was in it, because he was actually more interesting than anyone else on that show. And when he left, there went the show. It's kind of how I feel about this. It's like, well, it's a good thing she has an interesting story and interesting side characters, because I just can't read about Kara Holt by herself. She's too boring for me. But the rest of the story, I think, is really good. Now, one more thing before I let you go today. As you know, we are trying to get William C. Ditz's book, Escape from Dagu, to be published on StarWars.com, or just released in public. If you don't know what it is, it's an unprinted Clone Wars novel that was completed, even has a cover, but was never released. Well, now with the recent release of Abel G. Pena's Skywalkers, we're hoping that they can release the book as well. Now, any Facebook groups wanting to join this, or maybe you've already joined in the fight, go ahead, feel free to put your link here below. We would love to help you out. I'd love to support anything like that. I want to see what this book has to offer. Remember, this is a legend story that's just sitting out there, out in the cold, waiting for someone to read it. All we need to do is bring it inside and... cold. Oh, yum nub.